guys, this is Courtney from Willows Bloom, and today I'm going to talk to you about what is going on in the astrology for September. And I'm super excited to chat with you guys about this and go over it for all of the signs. It's probably going to take me a second. It's my first video doing this for all of the signs for the whole month. So I'm just trying to find my footing and see how I can do it in the most timely way possible. Okay, so before I get started, I just wanted to let you guys know I'm not going to really be talking about the moons this month because I will still come out with my new and full moon videos for all the signs. So I'm going to go over that in explicit detail. Explicit? Is that the right word? I feel like that's not the right word. I'm going to go over it in detail in the other videos, so let's not harp on it here. Okay. All right, up next we have Taurus and Taurus Rising. So I just wanted to let you guys know, like I've been doing the other groups, I am taking this September analysis by planet and not chronologically. So it will be chronologically by planet, but you'll notice that when I start talking about Mars, that it's not leaving off the exact date I was talking about with the sun, because the sun I'm talking about all the way from start to finish, the Mars start to finish. So if it gets a little confusing, let me know in the comments below. I'm just still trying to figure out how to format this in a way that it doesn't take too much time and that it also makes sense and everything flows together. So yeah, let's talk about this. Okay, so you guys are starting off the month having the sun in the 5th house in Virgo. And then on the 22nd, the sun is going to move into Libra in your 6th house of work, health, and routine. So for the majority of the month, you're going to have a heavy focus on more so your social life, really connecting with other people, doing things that bring you a lot of joy. So for some of you guys, this might be, spending more time on particular hobbies or sports or things that interest you, going on trips with friends. There's just kind of like a little bit a heavier focus in the beginning of the month on doing things that bring you joy, that bring you pleasure. And sometimes for some of us, this can be around work as well. So if you like working with people, or if you have a passion project or a hobby or something like that, having the sun move through your 5th house is a perfect time to focus on that, as well as honestly enjoying good sex. I feel like the sun moving through the 5th house is kind of giving you that vitality and that focus and bringing light into that area of your life. So if you want to change any aspects of your sex life, then now is a great time. Now is also a good time to date if you are single. And then when the sun moves into Libra as well on the 22nd, also a good time to date, even though it's your 6th house of work. Yeah, if you're single, you'll be focused on relationships anyway at that time. So on the 6th, the sun is making a trine to Uranus. So if you've been wanting to have some kind of like creative breakthrough, or if you've been wanting to have something more fun and more exciting to go after in your dating life, in your travels with your friends, any kind of aspect of life you want to bring more, like change to or excitement to, you're going to experience that on the 6th. So if you've been having any kind of stuck energy, that's a really great day to get unstuck essentially. And gosh, I pulled so many cards for you. I didn't mean to do that. But one of the cards I pulled for you was the love card. So again, this is a heavy focus on your love life, your dating life, enjoying other people, and that feels always really beautiful. So on the 14th, the sun is going to oppose Neptune. On this day, I'm just telling everyone we might lose a little bit of steam. For you guys, if you are dating someone at this time, you might find that you get overly optimistic about this person, and then you kind of find out later, like a week later or so, that this person actually isn't that great, and the reality kind of sinks in about the situation. This doesn't have to be just with dating. This can be anything that you've been actively pursuing. If you do decide to go on a trip, this is a great time to relax and everything. But when it comes to sticking to a schedule, to getting things done, to having an accurate perception of time, energy management, of understanding other people, not the best. So if you're trying to be like extremely productive around the middle of the month, this might kind of go against that a little bit. Then on the 16th, the sun is going to trine Pluto. So right after that experience of kind of lethargy, we're going to be much more dedicated. We're going to be much more driven and ambitious. And if you were having, a date and you were thinking that that person was fantastic, I could see you on the 16th that just 2 days later that some of those blinders could come off and you're like, wait a second. Like what did they just say? Kind of like analyzing them a little bit deeper. So this could go for any relationships, or it could go in anything in your life. If you've been kind of pursuing something or feeling like excited about some aspect of your life, you might go deeper into that. You might go all in. You might get a little bit more obsessed or more interested in it, and you might start looking at kind of like alternatives of that as well. Like this Pluto has a lot to do with like what is hidden, like hidden alternatives, hidden realities, hidden truths. So a lot of like conspiracy theories kind of thing. So if you're pursuing something and it's like going into a new layer of it or looking at it from a different angle is possible around the 16th. And then on the 29th, the sun is going to make a trine to Saturn. I feel like this is a really great time for you to start working. The sun is going to be shifting into the 6th house at this time as well. So you're going to be focused a lot on taking action, getting things done. And with that trine to Saturn, it's giving you the diligence to actually see some of this work through. I pulled the 8 of Wands and the 3 of Pentacles. To me, this is an aspect of taking action for the work that you're doing, making sure that you are not sitting on your laurels, but actually checking things off your to-do list and committing to them. And with that trine with Saturn, it's going to help you commit to it. With the 3 of Pentacles, I feel like this is more of a feeling of celebration than collaboration. This feels like building a sense of community. And I think that's more towards the beginning of the month when you experience the sun in your 5th house. Okay. Let's talk about Mercury, which is the planet of thinking, communication. As I said in the last group, wherever Mercury goes, our mind follows. So we're going to have some kind of heavy mind focus to that area of our life. So again, this is going to be in Libra, so it's going to be in your 6th house. So this is going to be your focus until November 5th. So even if you feel like you want to socialize a little bit more in the beginning of the month, the first 2 weeks of the month or so, or 3 weeks, you'll still have your mind at least 1 foot in your work. You'll still have your mind on your health. You'll still be focusing on taking action, getting things done, and that type of thing. And I pulled the success card. So I feel like whatever you're dedicating yourself to and whatever you're trying to strive for within your work will have a successful outcome. I also pulled the energy card, which I'm going to talk about this probably more with Mars, but on the 14th, you'll have Mars move into the 6th house as well, when you're going to start to feel your energy pick up. So even though your mind is focusing on that right now, your energy might be actually more towards socializing. And then when the sun and Mars shift into the 6th house, in the middle of the month, you're going to start to feel like your energy catches up with your intentions, with your thoughts, with your actions. Okay, so on the 4th, Mercury is going to trine Saturn. So this is really great for being diligent about what we do. I think I was saying that before. Just like with the sun trining Saturn on the 29th, when Mercury trines Saturn on the 4th, we're excited for some level of commitment into some area of our life. We're excited to put more effort into something. We don't shy away from difficult tasks at that time. So even though the sun will still be in the 5th house, we'll still be desiring to have a little bit more fun. Around the 4th, I feel like your mind is actually on the work routine, or it's on that grind. You're willing to, I guess, kind of work through any problems you might have encountered previously. It's a really good time to, I guess, resolve things that might normally exhaust you, might feel a little bit frustrating typically around, like the later half of the first week. The 20th, Mercury is going to make a trine to Jupiter. This can be a sign or indication that you did work successfully through whatever issues did arise. So this is saying if you had previous issues, that there is a successful outcome. I literally pulled the success card. You might be getting brand new ideas related to work. You might be getting good news from fellow employees or from people who are higher ups. They might be giving you guys kind of like that pat on the back, saying, especially because Jupiter's in the 10th house, I could definitely see your higher ups being like, good job, you get a raise, you get this new responsibility, and it's something that you feel excited about. It's something that's going to help you learn, help you grow, and you're going to have energy for that. I also pulled a gratitude card, so it kind of makes me feel like you'll be really grateful for whatever success does come your way. This is long deserved. This is something that you've put effort into, especially with that Mercury trine Saturn prior. It's not something that was just given to you. This opportunity is given to you because of your previous actions. On the 22nd, Mercury is going to square Pluto. So this is a time when you might actually find that you butt heads a little bit with people at your work, that that previous thing that your boss just gave you 2 days before, you'll notice that maybe it has more stipulations than you expected, or that the boss is just being like way more controlling, or way more of like a hoverer in your work. There's some element here that puts a little bit of a damper and oftentimes can create a little bit of tension. And it's oftentimes going to be between you and somebody sharing ideas or working towards a common goal where you might not actually see eye to eye on that goal or on the action steps needed to get there. And that could also be one of the reasons why I pulled the Three of Pentacles. Jesus. Collaboration card. This could be a focus at this time when you have Mercury squaring Pluto, where you feel like collaboration kind of breaks down or has issues or isn't as easy and flowing, and it requires a little bit of a swallowing of an ego on both parts, or on yours if that person is very forceful and they have the power. So yeah, that might be a possibility to kind of come up around that time. But Mercury moves really quickly, so the issue will likely be resolved, especially when Mercury starts to go retrograde on the 27th. This is definitely a time when you can look back on your relationships with your colleagues, your previous work ideas, previous projects that you've started, old paperwork, or even this issue that could have come up around the 22nd with another employee or with a boss, and you can start to re-examine those things. You can finish them up. You can tie up loose ends. So if there was something new, it's maybe better to put that kind of on the backdrop, and then focus more on things that you hadn't really finished prior, and wrap up those loose ends so that you have the energy and the capacity to move forward with the new projects with ease. You don't want to have all these tabs open in your mind or energetically. So this is kind of your time when Mercury moves in retrograde on the 27th to wrap up everything, essentially. Now let's take a look at Mars. I mentioned a little bit about Mars being our energy, where we are driven, where we are striving for something. And so for you guys, it's going to be in the 5th house until the 14th. So the first half of the month, you're going to feel probably a little bit more sexually stimulated. You're going to have more energy to dedicate to your social life, to dedicate to your passion projects, to your creative things, to your children. This is a time when you could run around chasing after them and feel like you want to be doing that at that time. Even though Mars on the very first of the month is opposing Neptune, you might want to take a little bit of a break at the very beginning of the month because Neptune can kind of slow us down. Regardless, your passion and your drive is still focused on the pleasure areas of your life, the connecting with others, the enjoying the fruits of previous labors. Then on the 14th, Mars will move into... Oh, really quick, one more thing. On the 6th, Mars is trining Pluto when it's still in the 5th house. This can kind of bring up... I feel like this can bring up a little bit more intensity to what you're desiring, which can be a good thing, or, I mean, it could be a bad thing, but it's a trine, so I feel like it's going to be good. So essentially, this can bring up just a little bit more of, it can strengthen your desires. So whatever you were desiring before, you can find that you become almost like obsessive or much more intense, much more involved or devoted to whatever this concept was, this idea was. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Yeah. And then on the 14th, Mars will move into your 6th house of work, and you're going to feel this energy transfer into your drive within your career. And this is perfect because this is going to be followed on the 20th with that Mercury trine to Jupiter, where you can start to get recognition for your work, where you can start to get a pat on the back, an opportunity, some kind of thing coming in from superiors or from the public. And then on the 25th, Mars will trine Saturn, which is going to help you really sit down and work through some difficult things. As I mentioned, with Mercury trining Saturn on the 4th, this is a similar energy. It's going to give you, I guess, like the the consistency to keep showing up to things, to keep trying to pursue something, to go after something. And that I think is really great because it will also kind of give you the energy to do that with things in the past, to wrap up those things in the past that I was mentioning, so that you can finally start this new work project or new whatever it is when Mercury goes direct. You guys will also have Venus in Libra, so that's going to be in your 6th house as well. So generally it's a good time when Venus is transiting your 6th house to kind of start to get to feel more at ease in your relationships with people that you work with, to get a little bit more recognition from your superiors, to feel like things are flowing a little bit more in your work and they're just not difficult. And Venus will be in the 6th house until the 10th of the month when it moves into Scorpio. Then it's going to be in your 7th house of relationships. So on the 10th of the month, when Venus moves into your 7th house of relationships, you're going to start to feel like your partnerships are just enhanced. You're going to feel like this more love, essentially. You're going to feel like more excited about people. And yeah, I think that's a really beautiful time. I did pull the love card for you guys, so that could be an extra focus of just feeling really great with certain people. So let's talk about what aspects Venus is making. So at the beginning of the month, when Venus is directing you towards focusing on your career and getting accolades and beautiful things in your career, on the 5th, it will square Pluto. So you might get a little bit of pushback. This is when you might feel like your coworkers are being a little bit annoying, or they are like there are situations that come up where people have different beliefs, different ideas, and they're kind of in conflict with yours. Or it could be that you get approached by your boss and they want you to make a change to what you do, and it can kind of feel like an affront. So there can be some kind of level of tension here where people are not really quite on the same page, and there can need to be a little bit of a shift, either within your thinking or their thinking, or just energetically, some kind of shift to improve the situation, to improve the dynamic or the relationship. On the 6th, Venus will trine Jupiter, so I do think that whatever comes from that is going to be a positive shift. It's going to be a step in the right direction. You're going to have the other person kind of come together with you, and the resolution of that issue is going to be positive. So this is a really great time to receive some of those accolades and things like that from your boss, or from an opportunity within your career, like I was mentioning before. On the 17th, you're going to have Venus make a square to Saturn. So this is when Venus now has moved into your 7th house of relationships. And when it squares Saturn, it's almost like you're chilling when Venus moves into the 1st house for a week, and when it moves into your 7th house for a week, from the 10th to the 7th or 17th, you're going to feel maybe like relatively good in relationships, at least when it first shifts there. And then on the 17th, Venus squares Saturn, and then it's like all of the issues around relationships come up. If you've been seeing somebody and they want you to commit to them, this is when they might ask you that. It's like, okay, are we gonna make a change? Like, are we gonna go all in, or are we not gonna go all in? Are we like, what is the stance of this? What's the final call? And that might be something that comes up in any area of any relationships with anyone, where it's like I think sometimes we can often feel like there needs to be some kind of shift in people's behaviors, because we can feel like we're more disconnected from other people. We can feel like we're not being fully supported. And this can especially come through in terms of your superiors, because it is Saturn in the 10th house. So you might feel like your boss is like treating you a little bit weirdly, or you're not as happy with certain things in terms of money or your relationship with them. So those things can kind of be brought to a head, to shift, to change, or to be more supported. Then on the 23rd, Venus is going to oppose Uranus. So whatever tension was sort of brought up in your relationships, especially dynamics with your bosses, is going to come to a little bit more of a head. On the 23rd, it's the time for change. It's the time to create freedom. It's the time to create some sense of liberation from an oppressive cycle. With Venus squaring Saturn, that's when the oppression becomes obvious. That's when you feel like you can't stay in that same mode anymore. When the opposition occurs with Uranus, it's like, okay, we were doing this for a while. Saturn represents like longevity, old things, habits, things from the past. And with the Venus making a square to it, it's like there is some static element of your relationships, likely with some kind of authority figure in your life. Doesn't have to be, but it could be. That can become unbearable. And then on the 23rd, it's like, I'm ready to change this. I'm ready to say something. I need answers, that kind of thing. So it can feel a little bit more volatile. It can feel a little bit like creating a sense of freedom from the previous cycle. On the 29th, I feel like this is a sign that it went well. Venus is going to make a trine to Neptune. So it's interesting because the 22nd, we have Mercury squaring Pluto, which can kind of bring up this tension between ideas. And then on the 23rd, we have Venus opposing Uranus, which is us saying, okay, I believe something different than you. I need you to let me be me, do me, that type of thing. These are just examples. It doesn't have to be just like that. And then it's like it all resolves peacefully. On the 29th, Venus trines Neptune. On the 30th, Venus squares Jupiter. We're feeling like things are flowing. We're feeling like we're getting a sense of support from the universe. Like people are hearing us. People are not pushing against us as much. It creates this feeling of just kind of like a positive resolution to what was going on prior. So I am feeling like that's going to be really positive for you guys at this time. The last card that I pulled was the cleansing card, and I just wanted to read what it said in the definition of the book because I am not really sure what it means by cleansing, just looking at it like that. The end of one phase and the beginning of another is indicated and brought forward by lemons. A change of environment or situation and in your way of thinking is needed and will help you proceed. Although necessary, you can comfortably move forward gradually. Sell or get rid of things you no longer need at this time for a physical clear out. Old habits need to die. Now is a great time to do it and have it done for good. So I think there is some kind of cleansing of old patterns, of old stuff, whether that's physically, whether that's mentally. But when Mercury goes retrograde on the 27th, I feel like that is your time to start officially cleansing. If you're trying to throw stuff away, if you're trying to create different, scenarios in your relationships, this is the time to do so. So just recognize that the cleansing should at least happen on the 27th, if not earlier. That's what I see for you guys, Taurus and Taurus Rising. If this resonates, please like and comment down below, and I hope you have such a beautiful day. Bye.